beloved Peters viewers, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. It's your girl Beloved and I'm back with a new recipe for the channel. Beloved Catering Service is a business where we make cakes, spring donuts, meat pies, spring rolls and all other kinds of fruit drinks and fruit juices. Please contact us with the information on the screen. Our ingredients for today's recipe are 6 room temperature eggs, 600 grams of all-purpose flour, 600 grams of white sugar, 360 grams of olive oil, 360 grams of milk, which would be any milk you prefer, 1 tablespoon of powdered salt, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, half tablespoon of baking soda, which is bicarbonate of soda, 1 sachet of instant whipped cream, 2 packs of icing sugar, which is 1000 grams, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract and yellow food color. The tools and equipment I use include a whisk, measuring spoons, a sieve, cake board, a cake leveler, a palette knife with a rubber handle, an offset spatula, a cake server or a cake shovel, star piping tip, rubber spatula, a milk jug, a weighing scale and its attached measuring bowl, 7.5 inch round baking tin, 1 measuring cup, which is the medium size, 2 mixing bowls, and 2 spare bowls. This is how the process begins. Let's prep our dry ingredients. In a measuring bowl, pour and measure 600 grams of all-purpose flour. Here I'm using the measuring bowl attached to the scale. After measuring the flour, pour it into the mixing bowl and add 1 tablespoon of powdered salt to the flour in the mixing bowl. Add 1 tablespoon of baking powder onto the flour and half tablespoon of baking soda as well, and measure 600 grams of white sugar. If you don't have a weighing scale with a bowl attached to it, you could use any other weighing scale and a mixing bowl for the measurements of the ingredients. Now pour the sugar onto the flour and mix the dry ingredients together until it's well incorporated and mixed together with the aid of the whisk. Let's prep our wet ingredients. Now crack 6 room temperature eggs into another mixing bowl. As you crack the eggs, ensure that there are no eggshells in it. Now pour and measure 360 grams of milk into your weighing scales bowl and pour the milk into the mixing bowl containing the eggs you cracked a few minutes ago. In the weighing scales bowl, pour and measure 360 grams of olive oil and pour the oil into the egg and milk mixture. Now add 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract into the mixture. Give the mixture a good whisk. Do so to ensure that everything in the bowl is well incorporated or mixed together. And set it aside. It's time to mix the wet and dry ingredients together. Use the rubber spatula to create a little hole in the middle of the wet ingredients and pour the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. Now mix them together. This is how thick and fine I wanted the cake batter to be. Today's cake will be made in 3 flavors and they are vanilla, yellow and orange cakes to give off an ombre velvet layer cake, and this means dividing the batter into 3 equal halves so that they can be colored with edible food color to give or to help me achieve the look I need. After the weight of the batter was determined to be 2,280 grams, I used the calculator to divide the batter into 3 equal parts. This means dividing them each into 760 grams. I then proceeded to divide the batter into the first part with the aid of a spare bowl. The food color we are using today is powdered. I poured 2 tablespoons of the yellow food color and diluted it with half teaspoon of water. Add in the yellow food color and mix it into the batter. Continue mixing it. Now pick up the baking tin. Pour half tablespoon of cooking oil into the baking tin and 1 tablespoon of flour into the baking tin. Now shake the baking tin so that the flour can cover the bottom of the tin. Pat the baking tin on the floor or on a flat surface to burst the tiny bubbles that may hinder the baking process of the cake. In today's recipe, we will not be using an oven, rather we will be using a gas cooker and a metallic saucepan. Put the saucepan on the cooker and allow it to heat up for 3 to 5 minutes. After the saucepan is heated, put the cake batter into the saucepan and cover it up with the lid. Ensure the cooker is on medium to low heat to prevent the cake from getting burnt completely. Because it's a no oven bake cake, it will get burnt a little, but keep your source of heat on medium to low to ensure that the burning of the cake's bottom layer is reduced drastically. Stick a toothpick into the cake after 25 minutes to check if the cake is well baked. If the cake is well baked, the toothpick will come out of the cake completely clean, but if it needs more time to bake, the toothpick will have particles of the uncooked cake stuck to it. The first cake is perfectly baked. Let it sit in the baking tin for about 5 minutes and then put it on a cooling rack to help the cake cool down. Now mix the next batter a lighter color, which is yellow. I mixed the first one a deeper color and it resulted in an orange form. I tried something new with the next cake. I covered the bottom of the next baking tin with parchment paper instead of the flour and then poured the cake batter onto it. Now do the same for the vanilla cake batter. The vanilla cake is halfway done. This means it needs a few more minutes to completely bake. Let's sift the icing sugar, which will be used to make the cake assembling. Remove the icing sugar from the pack and break the lumps in it with your fingers. Pour the icing sugar into a sieve and sift it. Use a whisk to stir the sugar so that it can be sifted. As the sifting process was ongoing, I switched to the whisk with the wooden ladles to speed up the process. Here I had to break up the lumps in the sieve so that the sifting process could continue smoothly. The icing sugar is ready for use. It does not contain lumps in it any longer. Let's make the whipped cream frosting for the cake. This is the whipped cream I'll be using for the frosting. It is an instant whipped cream and today I'll be using one of the 2 sachets of the instant whipped cream. Add half cream of milk into the whipped cream powder and whisk it on high speed for 3 to 5 minutes. This is the whipped cream's consistency I'm looking for. Now add the icing sugar into the whipped cream mixture. Mix the icing sugar and the whipped cream together. At this point, the mixture became a bit stiff for the whisk to mix, so I switched to the wooden ladle once again. Continue mixing it up, and if it gets stiff, adjust it with a tablespoon of milk. Repeat the same process until the icing sugar is finished. Set the cake's frosting aside. Let's assemble the cake. Trim off the bent edges and bottom layer of the cakes. Now use the cake leveler to slice the cake into equal halves. We will be using disposable piping bags. Lower your piping tip into the piping bag and use a scissors to cut the closed tip of the piping bag. With the help of the ladle, fetch the frosting into the piping bag. Now pipe a little frosting onto the cake board to help the cake stick to the cake board properly. Put the first cake layer onto the cake board and press it down gently to attach the frosting. Pipe frosting onto the cake and use the offset spatula to level the frosting on top of the cake surface. Continuing the same process, assemble the whole cake. Scoop a portion of the frosting onto the top layer of the cake and use the offset spatula to smoothen the top and sides of the cake. The frosting was too thin and it kept running down the cake, although it had been a great help in the cake assembly, so in the end I had to scrape it off the cake, and the cake ended up looking like this naked cake, which was still delicious. In the end, this was the no oven yellow velvet ombre layer cake with whipped cream frosting in between the layers. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos. Till we meet again.